The former McLeod Steel site, another major topic. I've talked about it for 9 straight years. And each time there's been a plan. Each time I'm confident that this is going to be the one. It makes sense for all these projects. It's not happening as of yet. The owners, in particular Mr. Michael Wilkinson, who I have known for the last 9 years, and I have a very high regard for that man. I do. He's a gentleman's gentleman. I've said that publicly. But he's got himself an albatross there, and he's trying to do what he can. He went to China between Christmas and, actually, he left after Christmas and came back a week or 10 days after the New Year. And he met in Beijing with 3 different companies about doing a partnership operation there and restarting it up as a plate mill. I can only hope. I'm not going to dwell on it because I've dwelled on it in the past and nothing's happened. But it's not from the lack of a fire in his belly that this doesn't happen. He does. He's 72 years old, and he wants to be 73, he tells me, and he still continues to want to do this. And I'm thankful that he does. I just wish I could help him. I try anytime we have any kind of new incentives or anything, I try and make him aware of it. But we can't, as far as the Chinese or the Russians or whoever, I mean, we can't. You can't lead that horse. You can bring him to the trough, but you can't get him to drink. They seem to be pretty positive this time again about McLeod Steel. I'll go with that and hope that he does, because not only does the city of Trenton deserve that, I believe that Mr. Mike Wilkinson deserves that. And I hope that it happens. I really do. And that would mean so much to this region that they can get that thing going. We're talking about 500 jobs. Okay, but no more. I'm not predicting anything on that because I've done that before, and I don't want to do it again. Another thing I mentioned, positive, I didn't mention, is that our Kennedy Arena. We have, last year we signed a contract with a Motor City's Metal Jackets. It's a junior A team, great competitive hockey. They are there with 28 games a year or so, and they have possibility of being there for tournaments. They do all their practicing there. This is their home base. We're really hopeful that they do well. They're doing well in the season. I think they may be in second place, possibly third. They just played St. Louis to a couple of games this weekend, who were in first, and they lost. What was nice about that, we had a Trentonite come back that lived in Trenton, that's on the St. Louis team, and he played, and we had 2 Trentonites, the Miller boy and the Wilson boy, that played Trenton high school hockey. They're on the Motor City Metal Jackets. They're doing well. The ownership there is trying their darndest to make a go of this, and I think that they can. It's nice that we've got a facility like that. We have 4 other high schools that play out of that facility. We got Trenton, Groseal, we have Gibraltar, and we have Riverview. That's their home ice. We have 3 surfaces, and it's certainly a nice scouting place for Motor City Metal Jackets when you got 3 high school teams or 4 playing out of there. And that's why some of the Trenton kids are popping up on their rosters. What I want to do before I go into summary, I want to talk a little bit about something that not necessarily is all about Trenton, but it's about this region. And just want to talk about the Detroit River International Bridge. You probably have heard some things about that. Governor Snyder surprisingly came out, and supported that effort to build that new bridge across to Canada from Zug Island. What's kind of surprising about that was the Senate last legislative session, to the person, as far as all the Republicans anyway, voted no on that because they felt that they weren't getting enough information on that. Anytime they asked questions of the state government there or the MDOT or anybody involved with, they call it DRIC. That's the acronym for the Detroit River International Crossing. Yeah, they weren't getting the answer they should. In fact, there was even a thought that maybe they were improperly doing it. In fact, I think the Attorney General was addressed by at least 4 senators to have them take a look at that. Let me tell you something about that. In my opinion, this is a regional concern because they're going to be spending billions of public dollars, and this should be scrutinized very closely. And I'm glad that the Senate did that last year, because early on I was a supporter of the DRIC project because I thought, an international bridge, should be publicly owned. I really thought that. The more I read, though, and learned about it, and the more convinced that I am that it is appropriate for the private sector to own a bridge. Now, remember, this is my opinion now, okay? I'm going to make sure I clarify that. After all, it's been this way for 80-some years, 83 years, privately owned, and many of the international tunnels, as you know, are privately owned by railroad companies, which are privately owned. So why is it so important that government has to spend public monies in the amount of $5 billion at least to have their own bridge? The owner of the Ambassador Bridge is committed to building a twin span right there at the Ambassador Bridge. And he's willing to do this at his own expense. Thousands of jobs will be created if he does his thing. I think that direct people are talking about thousands of jobs will be made if we build this new span. Well, they're going to have thousands of jobs with the twin span, too, at no cost to us, and we'll benefit by the jobs. And there should be no public dollars expended. No public dollars expended. We're spending too many public dollars. Senator Colbeck, I'm sure you can approve that, or at least not approve of that, because we don't need to get government bigger. We got to make it smaller if we can. The $500 gift from Canada really was not a gift. It's actually a loan from Canada, and it's reliant on tolls that has to be paid back through tolls. Well, the projections are there isn't going to be enough traffic to pay the tolls. So guess who's on the hook for $500 million but the people in Michigan? We're on the hook for that $500 million gift from Canada. And I'm not so sure our government can even accept that gift. I think they're looking into that too. But I just want people to think about that. During the last legislative session, the Michigan Senate would not approve the DRIC project, and because they were not getting the answers, as I said earlier. I'm hopeful that this new legislature will be as diligent as their inquiries are made, and they would not move forward on this DRIC project until this project and all the doubts are removed. It's too much money for us to get involved with and be owing for the hope that the tolls will pay for it. It's bad business as far as I'm concerned. And that you just heard the opinion of Jerry Brown. Okay, I'm not speaking for anybody else here. That's me. But I am, like I said, I was very, very supportive of the DRIC project at the beginning, and I am not anymore. This word I'm about to say, in summary, that's the one you probably wanted to hear. Well, anyways, this coming spring, the City Council will approve a balanced budget for the upcoming fiscal year because we are required to. We can only hope that we will continue to provide the many services that our residents have become accustomed to and deserve. I thank you. Another belt tightening year is in effect right now. Believe me, so we'll have to do that. But I thank you for attending this 9th annual State of the City address, and best luck to each of you in the upcoming year. And once again, I thank you for listening to me. It's a great platform for me to get my message across, and I hope I've done that today. Thank you.